Great day, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Michelle Thomas had a genuine ability, and her enthusiasm for acting was clear from an extremely young age. Her folks' backing and consolation assisted her with seeking after her fantasies, and her persistent effort and devotion sprung into a profession that spanned more than 10 years. She was brought into the world on September 23, 1968, in Brookline, Massachusetts, and was brought up in Montclair, New Jersey. Her mom was just 17 years old when she brought her forth, and when Michelle was mature enough, she began giving her acting illustrations and remained her own theatrics mentor all through her profession. Michelle's dad, Dennis D.T. Thomas, began playing the saxophone and turned into an individual from the nearby band called the Snazzy. In 1964, he united with a few different artists to frame a gathering that would ultimately turn into the famous funk and R&B band Cool and the Posse. Despite the fact that Michelle is most popular for her acting vocation, she was likewise a gifted vocalist, taking part in and winning numerous expos all through her childhood. She frequently acted in school plays and nearby theater creations, improving her abilities as a youthful entertainer and partaking in her time at the center of attention. Her gift was irrefutable, and when she was a young person, Michelle realized that she needed to seek an acting calling. Launching her resume in the mid-80s, she showed up in different television ads the nation over. In the wake of moving on from secondary school, Michelle started going for various jobs in performance centers, film, and TV. Her work took care of itself in 1989 when she handled a visitor job on an episode of the fleeting television series A Man Called Falcon. The show was a side project of the secret and tension-based wrongdoing show Spencer for Recruit and circulated for one season that year. She additionally scored the role of Sally Palmer in the rom-com Dream Date, which co-starred Storm Bledsoe and Kadeem Hardison. While the film didn't accomplish extraordinary basic or business achievement, it remains a fascinating reference with regards to Michelle's labor of love, exhibiting her ability and adaptability. In 1988, her tryout for The Cosby Show dazzled makers, and she was offered the piece of Justin Phillips. Theo Huxtable's sweetheart, with the unquestionable science among them, shocked no one when she and Malcolm Jamal Warner got an Adoration Association going screen. They started dating not long after Michelle's most memorable appearance in Season 4, and despite the fact that her personality finished in 1990, they stayed in a serious relationship for a few years at last. In light of their clashing timetables, the romance couldn't endure the requests of their vocations, and the pair settled on a shared separation. Michelle's presentation on The Cosby Show assisted with laying out her as a rising star in media outlets, and in 1991, she made her big screen debut in a little job as a sales administrator in the transitioning film Hanging with the Homeboys. The film commonly got positive surveys, was commended for its sensible depiction of metropolitan life, and is presently viewed as exemplary of that time. In 1993, Michelle did the greatest job of her vocation as the infatuated Myra Monkhouse, a stalker, sweetheart of Steve Urkel, and heartfelt opponent to Laura Winslow on the ABC early evening hit Family Matters. In the event that you think I let you go to make sure you could move on, you're one whiskery woman, a diminutive oddity. Show now that you are terrifying me, also being this senseless new Steve, and come creeping back to me and ask my pardon, please. I'm sorry Myra's mother likes to say that her on-screen bond with Jaleel White assisted with making Myra a darling person in families from one side of the planet to the other. While Michelle was at first expected to star as a visitor on the show, her acting stunned the makers, and she turned into an individual from the primary cast during her 5 seasons on Family Matters. Michelle likewise made appearances on different sitcoms, including Thea, Malcolm, and Eddie. She was a guest on the melodic assortment program Soul Train in May 1996, and again on Walk in 1997. Music Another extremely exceptional VIP visitor has I'm Michelle Thomas, and they've forever been celebrating. We wish you a wonderful and honor-winning grin. She handled her appearances in a few music recordings, for example, in Mint Circumstances. What sort of man would I be, and would Drew Slopes never make a commitment? Propositions for employment continued to come, and open doors appeared to be perpetual. Yet tragically, in August 1997, during the last time of Family Matters, Michelle was determined to have an uncommon stomach disease called desmoplastic little round cell cancer, or DSARCT. The determination came as a shock to the entertainer, who had no earlier history of difficult sickness. She at first kept the examination hidden from her companions and partners, as only close relatives were conscious of her conditions. It wasn't long after apparent changes in her appearance ended up making it clear that others were made mindful of her ailment. From the beginning of the news, Michelle quickly quit standard malignant growth therapies. There is no conclusive response regarding the reason why she might have declined chemotherapy, as she didn't freely examine the purpose behind doing so anyway. Certain individuals with diseases decide not to go through chemo because of multiple factors, including worries about the incidental effects, the monetary weight of the treatment, and a longing to seek out other options or reciprocal treatments. Michelle proceeded to work and state a motivation to many individuals for her solidarity and versatility. Even with her sickness in the early part of 1998, she went through her most memorable medical procedure, where a growth was eliminated from her mid-region, and specialists were certain that she would make a full recuperation. With things beginning to look into place, she started to depict Callie Rogers, a hopeful performer who is locked in to be hitched to Malcolm Winters, played by Shemar Moore, on the famous drama The Youthful and the Fretful. Michelle had to take clinical leave from the daytime adventure as the consequence of a second malignant development that burst, notwithstanding the surprising disclosure. She stayed positive and went through a medical procedure again in order to eliminate the disease for the last time following her release from the clinic. Michelle ventured out to New Jersey to recuperate under the consideration of her family and to observe Thanksgiving, a time that would end up being the groundwork for her progress over the course of a few weeks. The complexities out of nowhere went from minor to serious, and her well-being quickly weakened. She was confessed to the dedication Sloan Kettering Disease Center in Manhattan, New York, where she spent her last days. Unfortunately, Michelle Doris Thomas kicked the bucket on December 23, 1998, at 30 years old. She was encircled by her caring family and dear companions at the hour of her serene passing. She was featured post-mortem in the role of Anna in her second and last film, Unbowed, in 1999. The film was delivered 10 months after her passing, and in spite of the fact that it didn't get much consideration, it remains an essential venture in Michelle's filmography, exhibiting her commitment to her art even as she struggles with malignant growth. Michelle's commitments to the big time keep on being recollected and celebrated by her fans. She will constantly be perceived as one of the most splendid stars of her age. Thank you for watching this video.